Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Tiffany Gomas? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the incident, then offer my analysis. In 2023, 38-year-old Tiffany Gomas lived in a $2 million house in Dallas, Texas. She was a graduate of Oklahoma State University and established a company called Uppercut Marketing. She was a marketing executive. Now moving to the timeline of the incident. On July 2, 2023, Tiffany boarded an American Airlines flight from Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport to Orlando, Florida. In a video that was posted the next day to the social media platform TikTok, Tiffany can be seen in the aisle walking toward the front of the plane. At this time, the plane was still on the ground in Dallas-Fort Worth. Tiffany appeared to be in a state of distress and was using a piercing, whiny, and unpleasantly high-pitched voice. She said, quote, "I'm telling you, I'm getting the blank off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the blank off. And everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two blanks. But I'm telling you right now, that mother blanker back there is not real," unquote. Tiffany was pointing to the back of the plane when she said this, as if to indicate the location of the not real entity. Tiffany continued by saying, quote, "You can stay on this plane and die with him or not. I'm not going to," unquote. Tiffany proceeded to exit the aircraft. On the jetway, she called airline employees blanking delusional. The police responded to the area. Tiffany referred to the officers as blanking blank bags. She was on the phone at the time, purportedly with her mother. Tiffany talked about how two police officers were following and recording her. Her mother can be heard telling Tiffany to calm down. Tiffany responded, quote, "You know me, Mom. That plane is going down," unquote. Police officers told Tiffany that they were trying to help her. She told them that she wanted to get the blank out of here. She called the officers mother blankers after they requested her boarding pass. The police told her that they were going to have to escort her to the public side of the airport. She was warned that she would be placed under arrest for trespassing if she did not comply. As the police were walking Tiffany out, she said, quote, "Do not let that flight leave," unquote. She suggested that the flight was not going to make it to Orlando and even made a reference to the plane blowing up. After being escorted to the public area of the airport, Tiffany repeatedly tried to get back through TSA screening. The police confronted Tiffany outside the terminal where she was waiting for a taxi. She was given a criminal trespass notice but refused to sign it and would not show her identification. Tiffany was never arrested or taken into custody. The police indicated that Tiffany had been arguing with a family member on the plane and had accused them of stealing her AirPods. This incident left many unanswered questions. For example, what was in Orlando? And did Tiffany ever get there? The video of Tiffany's jarring and unsettling tirade on the plane became extremely popular. It led to a number of memes as people tried to figure out what Tiffany meant by the words, "not real." To what type of not real entity was she referring? The Easter Bunny? Bigfoot? An honest politician? There's no way to know. Some people started referring to Tiffany as the crazy plane lady. Tiffany did not appear to be pleased with all the attention. She told a reporter, quote, "My life has been blown up. It's frightening. Things go viral and everything changes," unquote. She also claimed that people were staking out her house and her neighbors and going through her mail. On August 13, 2023, Tiffany released an apology video on social media. Here is a summary of the video. Some of this has been paraphrased. Tiffany introduced herself and acknowledged that she is probably better known as the Crazy Plane Lady. She felt as though this name was completely warranted. Tiffany said, quote, "I have been unwilling to speak on the viral video, but I do finally feel that it is time. First and foremost, I want to take full responsibility for my actions. They were completely unacceptable. Distressed or not, I should have been in control of my emotions, and that was not the case. My use of profanity was completely unnecessary, and I want to apologize to everyone on that plane, especially those that had children aboard. We all have our bad moments. Some are far worse than others, and mine happened to be caught on camera for the whole world to see multiple times." Unquote. Partway through the video, Tiffany apologized, saying that she was trying not to sound like Minnie Mouse. Tiffany talked about how the response to her behavior has been comical, and she has enjoyed many of the memes. However, the response has also been very invasive and unkind. She wanted to find a way to use this experience to do a little bit of good in the world. Tiffany said, quote, "I hope you guys can accept my apology and I can begin to move on with my life." Unquote. The video ended with a written message on the screen that read, quote, "Join me on my journey of promoting positive mental health and standing up against cyberbullying." Unquote. Beneath this, she listed her website address. I find it curious that Tiffany wants people to join her on a journey. The last time she was with people who were getting ready to start an uplifting journey, she never got off the ground. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. During the airplane incident, Tiffany appeared to be acting erratically. She was allegedly upset with a family member. I guess there was some type of argument or disagreement. This somehow led to her demanding to exit the airplane. She wasn't shy about making her demands clear. Her yelling was as unnerving as a fire alarm and caught the attention of everyone on the airplane. When she was in the terminal, Tiffany appeared to be taking her chances with the police. She waited a few seconds before complying with their orders. She referred to them using expletives, and she implied that the plane was going to blow up. These are all fairly efficient ways to get arrested in an airport. Tiffany was fortunate that the officers demonstrated restraint. Item number 2. To whom was Tiffany referring when she mentioned the not real entity? She did indicate the gender of the entity was male. If this entity was not real, why was she so worried about him? Why should the passengers be concerned about an entity that was not real? Most people would not be worried about dealing with a not real entity as long as that entity did not bear some type of safety responsibility. For example, people who like to swim in the ocean would be satisfied to swim with not real sharks, but they would feel differently about having not real lifeguards on the beach. In Tiffany's situation, if she said the pilots were not real, that would be concerning, but she was pointing toward the back of the plane. She appeared to be indicating that a male passenger was not real. Item number 3. Let's take a look at the major theories to explain why Tiffany yelled on the airplane. Theory number 1 is that Tiffany simply wanted to get off the airplane, like she was upset, frustrated, or angry, and was unwilling to regulate her behavior. Tiffany was simply being antagonistic and causing a scene to get her way. It was a temper tantrum. The not real speech was just to make sure people paid attention to her. Maybe she didn't think about what she was saying, so there was really no meaning to it. Or it could have been that she truncated a thought, like she meant to say something like, "not real nice," or "not real civil," but she left off the last word. Theory number 2 is that Tiffany was suffering from some type of mental health episode. Maybe she was experiencing a delusion. This is supported by the not real reference, but there's really no other reason to believe that Tiffany was separated from reality. Her behavior was fairly well organized. Theory number 3 is that Tiffany had some type of premonition that the plane was going to crash due to the behavior of a not real entity. She tried to save the lives of everyone on board, but quickly gave up and focused only on saving her own life. This theory is reminiscent of the 1983 film Twilight Zone, the movie. It featured a remake of a 1963 Twilight Zone TV episode about an airplane passenger who sees a gremlin. In the original episode, William Shatner played the man, but in the 1983 movie, it was John Lithgow. After reporting the gremlin to flight attendants and not getting a favorable response, the man tries to break a window with an oxygen canister. He is wrestled to the ground by an off-duty security guard who was carrying a gun. The man takes the gun and shoots out the window. The gremlin destroys the gun before jumping off the airplane. After the aircraft lands, everybody thought the man was crazy as he was carried off in an ambulance, but then the aircraft maintenance crew noticed claw marks on the engines. The same gremlin story resurfaced again in the 2019 reboot of the Twilight Zone series. Is it possible that Tiffany saw a gremlin? It seems like it would be unlikely. Tiffany was pointing inside the plane, but gremlins always ride on the wing. They cannot afford plane tickets. When weighing the theories about what happened during the incident, which one do I think is most likely? I think that number one is most likely. Tiffany was upset by something and impulsively caused a scene. Now moving to my last item, number 4. Tiffany has launched a social media campaign, perhaps to capitalize on her notoriety. She has accumulated over 110,000 followers on Twitter, over 75,000 on Instagram, and over 10,000 on TikTok. There is no clear message behind Tiffany's campaign, just vague references to mental health and cyberbullying. It's not clear what she's planning. One could argue that her plan is not real. What I find so amazing about this case is how Tiffany managed to rebrand herself on social media without having a brand in the first place. This is like repackaging a product without actually making a product. How is this possible? Usually social media influencers have to possess some type of talent in order to become popular. It doesn't have to be a lot of talent, but it must be something. Tiffany has turned the entire system upside down. She skipped the talent part and moved right to the apology video and the rebranding. It's really worse than just a lack of talent. She became popular for engaging in disruptive behavior. One could argue that Tiffany is a genius. Another possible argument is this: the bar for becoming an influencer is set incredibly low. Every passenger on an airplane is just one outburst away from glory and fame. The latest route to social media fame is so terrible, one can only hope that it is not real. But sadly, it is all too real. Those are my thoughts on the case of Tiffany Gomas. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.